Today we're going to be ranking the rookie running backs for Dynasty Fantasy Football purposes. We're going to be using the tier maker today. We're going to put them into tiers. We're going to assign them values. And we're going to look at their rankings for Dynasty Fantasy Football for the long term. But before we do that, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're talking about this rookie draft class for Dynasty Fantasy Football every single day this offseason. We're going to help you build your Dynasty teams and everything else. During the NFL draft, after each day of the draft, we will rank the players. That way, if you're drafting soon after the draft or during the draft, I will have you covered. Hit that button. Stop missing out. Keep tabs of this channel. We do this every year. But let's get this started with our first running back. And we're doing this at random like we always do. And we rank the running backs every week. The first running back we're going to talk about, since the tier maker has them listed first, Jonathan Brooks. And I'm just going to throw him up here. We're going to talk about him real quick because he is one of the best running backs in this class. Catches the ball well out of the backfield. Very electric. Can chain together moves. Has a good highlight tape to him. Was very productive last year. But it's that ACL discount we're going to see in rookie drafts. Can you be patient with them? We'll see in the NFL draft how the NFL is going to value him. But I think it's still going to be up there because the ACL injury isn't what it used to be, and we all know that. I have him as an A1 prospect. And if you're wondering what A1, A2, A3 means, it's because this isn't the greatest running back class, but I believe there's still going to be some values here at the running back position. And these running backs are going to blend together, and it's going to be very situational. So a guy that I have in A3 could easily jump to A2 or 1 in the right situation. And then if somebody in A1 falls a little bit, or goes to a situation that's kind of cloudy, considering we're playing 1 to 2 year windows with some of these guys, then we may have to drop them a tier. So we want to be very fluid with this class is what I'm saying. So I want to rank accordingly or tier accordingly to that so we have a good understanding as we get into the draft. These tiers will look different after the NFL draft. But going to our next player here, come on down, Blake. Corum. He's a very fascinating running back prospect. He's a lunch pail running back, can get it done between the tackles. He's got some upside. I believe whoever drafts him is really going to like him because he is a meat and potatoes running back, can really do a little bit of everything. I just don't think he's really top tier or elite at anything either, but he was very productive. So I'm going to have him probably right now in A1. I've had him there all offseason long. I think I'm going to keep him there right now. But A1 with Jonathan Brooks, and we'll adjust accordingly depending on draft position and where he goes in the draft. But I believe he should be in that tier. Our next running back coming off the board here, Trey Benson. Trey Benson is a fun running back prospect to talk about. He blew up the combine. We have good size, adjusted speed. Draft capital should be there. Should be a day 2 guy. Should be one of the top running backs drafted this year. The production profile, not the greatest. However, when you watch him on tape, we're electric. We got that size-adjusted athleticism. There is some downfalls to his tape. Sometimes he tries to stretch out the play. Sometimes the vision isn't there. However, opportunity is everything at the running back position. Size-adjusted athleticism does allow you to see the upside in the player. I think Trey Benson should be in that A1 tier right now. I think he should be valued as one of the top running backs in the class. And if I had to rank this tier out, it'd probably be Brooks, Benson, and then Corum, and we'll probably have another running back, maybe even 2 today, in the A1 tier. Next, coming off the board here is Bucky Irving. And when you watch him on tape, he's not that bad. He did not do so hot at the combine. The size-adjusted athleticism isn't there. Suggests that he can be a satellite back as a receiving option at the next level out of the backfield, which could give him some value in fantasy football, especially in PPR leagues. That's what we want out of our running back prospects. Guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run it between the tackles. He's got good vision. He's got damn good vision. The thing about him, though, is where is he going to go in the draft? Is the combine going to hurt him? I think he's more than just a flyer. Like, he's not going to go day 3. Well, if he does go day 3, it's going to be early day 3. I don't think he's going to get slept on in the draft. I don't know if I can put him in A2. I think that might be too high. And he failed the combine, so I don't think he should be allowed to touch A1. I think A3 right now is the right spot for him. And we may have to adjust or rank him somewhere in A3 depending on what happens with the rest of the board. But we're moving on to our next player here. Next coming on down, Brailin Allen. And he's a fascinating running back prospect. Broke out as a freshman at Wisconsin, was very productive throughout his collegiate career. Last year, 2023, his final year there, played with an ankle injury. We were dealing with that, a new offense. So we saw him get more work in the passing game. A big physical runner, but does not run to his size, but has a little bit of pop, mostly on the top end. He lacks some burst, which you see that at the point of contact at some time. But in the right situation, getting enough carries, he could get you some fantasy production. His production profile is up here. However, you look at how he is as a receiver, he's more like right here. And then the speed, the burst puts him more here. He's more like in the middle. You're more like just seeing where he goes. You're more like watching Brailin Allen because you know he's a big situational running back right now. It could be a bad situation and you're just sending him to hell. But draft capital, a situation where you're seeing him get a lot of touches, you're putting him up there. That being said, he's going to go in that run in the second round. He's going to be like one of the first 5 running backs off the board in your rookie draft. I think A2 is a good spot for him. Name cachet, a good situation, could allow him to hold value for quite some time in your league. Our next player coming off the board is Jaylen Wright. And he may end up in that tier once I'm done talking about him. I don't know, but we have good size adjusted athleticism. We have a ton of upside with that. Draft capital is going to be huge with him. Landing spot 2, he was productive in the SEC. That being said, he's a huge wild card. When you just look at straight up upside, if you want to take that gamble, he's a guy you want to look at because he can hit you on that top end and be a very productive running back. But also on the downside, he is a little bit raw. I could put him down here to A3 if you looked at just his production profile, just his tape, he'd be like around here. However, the way he measures, and then you see his athletic specs from the combine. Then you go back and watch the tape, and you see that. We covered that prior to the combine. I told you it was going to blow up the combine. I think A2 with Brailin Allen, because these are 2 very situational running backs. They're so situational that in the right spot, they can go up to the moon. In the wrong spot, they're falling. Both these guys. Like Brailin Allen doesn't have the pass catching chops, really. Technically doesn't. Caught more last year by default, really, due to the new offensive coordinator, if you want to look at it that way. Could be a faller. Could be a faller. That being said, A2's kind of in that middle right there. Come on down, though. Marshon Lloyd. Marshon Lloyd's got some good size adjusted athleticism. I think he's going to go heavy in day 2 of the NFL draft. I think he'll be one of the first running backs selected. A lot of people like him. I like him too. I liked him at the Senior Bowl. I like him on tape. I think he's got a lot of upside with his size adjusted athleticism. And he's one of my guys. And I have him in this range. I'm taking him somewhere around here. And really depends on draft capital and situation. But I think he's an A1 guy. I think he's an A1 back. I think he's got some conviction when he runs. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He showed that heavily at the Senior Bowl. That being said, he's a guy I'm paying attention to. He's a guy we've been paying attention to for a long time in Devy. He's the guy we've been drafting in Devy because he had that upside coming out of high school. Next running back coming off the board here, Audri Estime. I want to talk about him because some of you guys think I love him and some of you guys think I hate him. I'm just watching where he goes. I think from the combine, I think that might hurt his draft stock. He ran a 4.71. The pro day was a little better, but when you adjust it, you look at the frames, I'm seeing some people come up with a 4.68. Not really that much better. On top of that, you watch him on tape. He does get caught from behind, but he's also very slick on tape. He is a very slick running back. Good vision. He has good lateral cuts, not much drifting, and breaks it off real quick, or he can run through you. And the thing about that is he's such a big, powerful runner, and for him to move laterally so well and execute those cuts and time them at the appropriate time, that gives him some upside. That makes him a guy that can get you some chunk yards in the second level. I think Audri Estime, we got to watch where he goes in the draft. he could be like a Dameon Pierce and give you some production, and you may be able to flip him in Dynasty. Audri Estime, too, can break off runs as well. I mean, you're not going to confuse him with a home run hitter, but honestly, what's the huge difference between him and Brailin Allen, honestly? I mean, on field, there's some differences, but Dynasty portfolio, there's not really too much. Or why is the market ranking him so much higher than Estime right now? Estime is at a great cost. I think Estime's got some upside. Prior, I had him here, but I'm just going back to my convictions here with him from what I see on tape. I think he's a good running back. I think he's solid between the tackles. I think whoever drafts him is going to end up liking him, and I think he's got the upside to scoot up the depth chart. Next running back we're going to talk about today, Will Shipley. He's a decorated prospect coming out of high school, went to Clemson. The Clemson offense did not do so well while he was there, but he was still productive. He can still catch the ball in the backfield. He is a jack-of-all-trades running back. In the right situation, considering his receiving chops, he could be a big get in fantasy football. Definitely. I see him getting drafted early day 3, maybe late day 2. But considering he can catch the ball in the backfield, considering how shallow this running back class is, I want to put him in A2 because compared to the other A2 backs, he can catch the ball in the backfield, a little bit more multifaceted, a little bit built more for fantasy football, but also I need him to go in a situation where he can be used to his skill set and not have another running back in front of him just soaking up the opportunities, because I don't see him being a guy that's just going to steal a backfield. I just don't see that happening, but I see him being a good complementary piece and maybe eventually taking over a backfield, but not off the rip. That being said, Will Shipley, I got him in A2. He's a guy I'm looking for in the late second round, early third round of rookie drafts. Really depends on where he goes, what happens, what's his ADP, what's his value. That being said, Grondo, come on down. Great size, adjusted athleticism. I think he's a good running back for what he is. I don't think he's great on tape, though. I think he allows a lot of runs to be left on the table. He's a flyer running back. I do like his size, adjusted athleticism. If he can climb the depth chart, he could be a home run hitter. I like him as a flyer. I don't know if he could be my flyer or not. I do like the numbers from the combine, but when I watch him on tape, he leaves more to be desired. I'm going to leave him there. But I'm probably still going to go after him. So let's put him here. Let's put him there. He's just not going to be one of my flyers. Next is Ray Davis. Ray Davis is a fun running back because he's one of those running backs that gets it done between the tackles. He can hold down the workload. You can see him being productive as a guy on the short yardage goal line situation. And if the depth chart breaks down, he could be the guy. He could earn that spot. I think A3 is actually a good tier for him because I don't have the conviction to throw him up to A2. I would like to see him be used a little bit more in the passing game and whatnot. And I feel like the draft capital could be like day 3-ish. That being said, A3 feels good to me. I'm watching him. I'm probably drafting him somewhere. Really depends on what the NFL thinks about him. But next is Dylin Labe. Dylin Labe, the small school running back, good receiving chops, very explosive. He's one of my flyers. I'm putting him there. I'm drafting him ahead of Grondo. I like how he's used in a passing game. I think if he can jump the depth chart, he could be fantasy relevant. He's a guy I want to take some shots on. Isaiah Davis here, another small school running back. Great between the tackles. Probably gets day 3 draft capital. Probably the upper level of day 3. I like him between the tackles. Could get opportunity at the next level if he climbs the depth chart. I like him a little bit more than Labe even because I think he can really carry a backfield if he earns it. If that happens. Another guy I like here, Kendall Milton. Has some good size. A sneaky asset. Might be a guy you're picking up off waivers when everything's said and done. But a guy that could sneak up a depth chart. A decorated prospect coming out of high school. I like him better than Grondo. Did not really kill it at the combine. But between the tackles, he can get it done. Dylan Johnson is another guy I like because of his receiving chops. Good in the passing game. Catch the ball in the backfield. I like him better than Grondo. I think a little bit better than Kendall Milton. Labe is a little bit more explosive. So I think right there with my flyers, all these guys are my guys. Really depends on what the NFL says about them. Cody Schrader, productive at the SEC level, but I'm not 100% sold on him. So I have him as just a flyer. I'll see where he goes. Maybe he can become one of my flyers in the right spot. But right now, we're just seeing where he goes in the draft. Frank Gore Jr., he's a very gritty running back, multifaceted. I think he can be a sneaky play late in drafts. I'm watching him heavy, probably around this area. I'm watching him very hard. I want to see where he goes. And this my flyer tier, very fluid. Very fluid. Could go up and down very quickly. Tyrone Tracy, I like him a lot. Has a lot of pop. Going to be a mid to late round running back that I'm watching heavily. And I might be trading for if I see him climb the depth chart in training camp. That being said, I have him around here. Maybe even here. Just listen to my words. He's somewhere there. I just let it go. Vital as well. Good running back prospect. Good between the tackles. Again, he's a flyer. He's not a guy that you're just planting flags on, but he's a guy you're paying attention to. So probably around here. I'm just going to let it go. Rasheen Ali, not really too interested in. He's a new running back added to this week's list. I haven't talked about him at all this year, but I feel like he's just going to fall between the cracks and may not be on a roster, may not. Don't know after this year, but we're going to watch him like we're going to do all the running backs. Right now, I just have him as a flyer that you're taking stabs at, but those are the top 20 running backs. We're up to 20 running backs right now. We'll be at 23 next week, 26 the week after that. We add 3 every single week. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.